Hello, all of you beautiful people around the world. My name is Ryan, aka Say It With Me, Blackbeard TCG. Hopefully you guys are all having an amazing day, and if not, hopefully I can make it a little bit better. Now, look, in today's video, we are back to the church. We're back to the Church of Purple Luffy. As you guys know, this is where it all began. At the start of OP05, when I took a look at Purple Luffy, and I was like, I'm joining it. This deck has to be absolutely cracked. And you know, since then, obviously, been playing a bunch of stuff in OP05. We see the metagame go from NL to Purple Luffy to Sakazuki being the best deck. And funnily enough, in the most recent championship over in Asia, oh no, I believe it was over in Japan specifically, Purple Luffy won, funnily enough. So I have my version of Purple Luffy that I have built, and I wanted to put it to the test today, show you guys some gameplay. This time it's going to be a post recording. You know, usually in the previous episodes, I've been doing some like live recordings and things like that. But I want to do a post recording just to kind of talk to you guys about the game and things like that. And what my plans are for OP05 as it's rapidly approaching, right? We're already November 20th is the 11th month. I do this on one take, you feel me? It's already November 20th, and I believe the next set is coming out on the 9th. So hope you guys are ready for that. Now, I will tell you guys this, and as you guys can see in this matchup, I'm going up against Red Purple Luffy. One thing about this matchup, and I'm going to get to my point. I know I just kind of jumped around here, but I just want you guys to also see what's going on the screen. Basically, if you can play Magellan, you win this matchup. But I think that this person that I was facing didn't quite know how to play the Red Purple Luffy into Purple Luffy matchup. So I feel like I should have lost this game, honestly, because I feel like I probably should have played double Magellan. I could have done better with my counters, but you guys will watch and see. But basically, with just a couple weeks for OP05, hopefully you guys are ready in terms of the decks that you want to play, the cards that you guys want to purchase, and things like that. You know what's so funny? I think that Rob Lucci is going to be really expensive, obviously, because a lot of people are going to want to play it. The Sakazukis are going to be expensive. You know, a lot of the Hound Blazes, right? You know, I think that week one, the cards are going to be quite expensive, as they usually are. And then after, I would say about 2 weeks is when the price is really going to die down. Now, if you are playing Purple Luffy like I am, then there aren't that many cards that you're going to have to go ahead and purchase. Obviously, you're going to have to get your 5-cost Captain Kids, because that card is just absolutely crucial to the deck. But for the most part, everything else in the deck, you're going to already have the tools and the cards in order to pilot the deck itself. So that's why I'm going to be playing it, because it's like, yeah, for me personally, I only have one box of OP05 pre-ordered, and I'm only buying one box. Obviously, as you guys know, I will be reaching singles from opsingles.com, you feel me? Oh, and by the way, if you guys aren't subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscription button. We're so close. We're so close to 5,000 subscribers. As you guys know, for every set that comes out, I'm trying to grind 1,000 subscribers. So with OP05 right around the corner, I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers. So go ahead and click that subscribe button if you're not. And as you guys can see on the screen right now, look at all these blockers, fellas. We got a Chopper, we got a Chopper, we got a Queen, and we got a Eustace Captain Kid. But if you see in my hand, you know, I got some bodies on board, so I got some polys. And speaking of cards that hopefully you guys have your polys. You know, it's so funny how poly was looked at as a card, and, you know, it always kind of had potential out of all of the Galila cards, right? I've said it multiple times on my channel as well. This is before Purple Luffy came out. I think I have, if you guys go back to my YouTube shorts, I think I made a YouTube short about King and how King could potentially be good. And I was like, we need more cards like Poly, because Poly was like the one Galila company card that was actually like good. And now it's just a really, really good card. And in my opinion, you know, it's quite interesting when you're looking at Purple Luffy builds, because at the start, a lot of people are only running some people are running no copies of Poly, some people are running 2 copies of Poly. Now we see people running anywhere between 3 to 4 copies. For me personally, in my build, I'm running 4 copies of Poly. I don't care if somebody tells me it's not good or not. With all these Sakazuki running around, I think that Poly is fantastic, right? Poly allows you to hit Rebecca, and Poly allows you to potentially win games. And he's a 6K body. You feel me? He's that 5K, 6,000 power stat line, which we all know and love. So, by the way, again, look at the board. Another Queen, my goodness. And this is here when I was like, oh, like if he just started going face, he could probably just beat me because he has so many blockers, right? But I guess he was really trying to play for the Joy Boy here, but I digress. But yeah, Polly is going to be one of those cards that hopefully you guys picked up. Obviously, Magellan is one of those cards that hopefully you guys picked up. Hopefully you guys picked up the 3 captain starter deck, so you can go ahead and pick up those Laws, pick up those 7 cost captain kids, right? Outside of that, you know, OPO1, you have the Scratch Manapoos of the world. You have your page 1s, your ulti. And then in the newest set, like I said, there's not that much cards that you have to pick up. You have to pick up your 5 cost kid, maybe your Miss Double Fingers and things like that. And then after that, you're chilling, right? So that's why I'm going to be playing Luffy. Obviously, I do want to be playing Enel as well. Obviously, when it comes to Enel, there'll be more cards that I'll have to purchase. Obviously, I will need to get the 7 cost Enel as well. I'm also still trying to decide if I want to play the Ohm Holy setup. I will have a video coming out probably tomorrow, essentially where I show you guys one of my builds. I see some people starting to run it as well. Again, it's more of a 7-mom focused engine, where you really like play to put pressure on the opponent's life. Excuse me, or they just keep healing you with that 7-mom, right? Because obviously you can't play 10-mom in the build. So yeah, here I mess up. Here I made this mistake so many times. I don't know what I was thinking. Obviously, when you use your useless Captain Kid 7 cost ability, you send back the 1 Dawn, right? But you want to use Dawn first and then send it back. But I was just at 10 Dawn because in my mind, I was already just trying to think of the lethal play, and then I just went for it. Do not do what I just did. And I think I make this mistake at least one more time at some point in this video, and I will call it out. Don't worry. I know it's my mistake. And yeah, and that's one of the things that I always recommend as you guys are, really trying to grind out games and practice and things like that. Mistakes are going to be made. And that's the purpose of the sim, right? Like when you play the sim, like ideally, like when you make your mistakes, hopefully you're recording your game so you can go back and watch and see where you lost. And see, we get the W here. So that's the first W for the day. Go back, see where you lost, right? And a lot of the times you'll be able to identify like, oh, if I played this turn differently, I would have won. Or, oh, I accidentally clicked this. Or, oh, I wasn't even thinking that I could have used this ability in this order and things like that. That's the whole purpose. Like if you guys are just playing for the sake of playing, that's fun, right? Because that's what I was doing as well. But now I'm playing with the intention of improving and getting better. And so that's why when I rewatch my matches, I try to really pinpoint where my mistakes are and then make note of them, so I try not to repeat them again in the future. And again, as I said, I did make that mistake again in the future, but after that second time, it never happened again. And you very, very much rather that happen while you're building up your muscle memory on the sim than when it happens in real life. You feel me? So here we're going up against the Charlotte Katakuri. Now, Charlotte Katakuri is a deck that is seeing a lot of resurgence in OPO5. So here I go ahead and go with the page 1, the ulti into page 1 combo. This is a tempo play that you really want to do if you have the cards, because why would you not want to develop a 5k body and a 6k body for nothing but 4 Dawn? And the thing is, when you're going up against Charlotte Katakuri, the reason why he's come back into the meta is because he's able to have that consistent 7k swing every single turn. And that's actually extremely impressive when you're going up against Sakazuki. It actually has a pretty good matchup against Sakazuki. Some would say that the matchup against Sakazuki is better than Enel, which is why people are opting to play the Katakuri over the Enel, because they're expecting to see more Sakazuki. Now, the thing is that purple actually plays pretty well into yellow, because Katakuri and Enel and things of that nature, they kind of struggle if you can get multiple blockers on board, especially Katakuri, right? When they make their 10-mom plays, depending on the game state, the board state, all of those things, if you have a couple of blockers established, that swing back's going to be quite deadly for you. And then if you have units on board, then they're probably going to want to clear their units as well. They already invested 10 Dawn on their previous turn. It's really hard for them to play into purple. But don't get me wrong, Katakuri is still a very, very strong deck in this set, because it has access to a lot of new tools, a lot of the tools that Enel has access to now. in terms of the events, that Volt card or whatever, I forgot what it's called. I actually started playing it in my Anno build, where you can go ahead and trash 2 cards from your hand and get a life back. The triggers, and like playing yellow is playing gacha, right? You're playing a gacha game. So basically, if you get that in trigger, obviously there's Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts can be very, very harmful if that gets hit in trigger as well, because guess what? Your 5-cost queen, your 5-cost kid, your 4-cost law, all of those blockers are easily thunderbolted, and now they can play things like this Rush Anno. Some builds are running this, and now all of a sudden they can be really oppressive, as well as swinging with 7k with their leader. So yeah, Katakuri is definitely a very strong deck, but as you can see right now, the way that I'm playing this, I do have a 9-cost Kaido in hand. Obviously, Enel is on the board right now as well. The thing is with Enel is you're going to want to swing into him. If Katakuri is running him, it's not as scary specifically for Katakuri compared to Enel, in my opinion, and I'm talking about the leaders. Reason for that is because with Enel, obviously, if he drops below 1 life, then he's just going to go ahead and proc it back up, right? He's going to get it back with his ability. With Katakuri, it's a lot more harmful, right? Obviously, he's going to want to stack his life in certain ways. He's going to look at his life whenever he swings into you. And so if he feels that his Enel's going to be in a threat, then he has to preemptively stack the top of his life to be a card that he can openly trash to keep it alive. So here he plays the Beige and the Sanji, and I'm not sure why he played the Beige. In my mind, I'm thinking, does he want to go for more offense? And I'm just like, okay, like, I'm not sure, because I'm thinking he probably has 10 mom. He wants to get as many swings in, right? Like, that's my mindset, because why would you play the Beige? Like, you'd rather keep the 10k counter. But I'm just like, okay, I'm going to swing here. He's probably going to want to keep the Enel alive. He's at 3 life, so he probably feels very comfortable. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to take this life and then keep the Enel on board. That's my first thought process. So let's see what happens here. I actually don't remember what he decides to do. I don't know if he throws counter or if he... Yeah. Okay, so he throws 2 2k counters. So I was like, okay, like, I'll take that, right? Like, throwing 2 2k counters, bless. So I go ahead, I swing with my useless Captain Kid. Now he has to throw another 2k counter, or he has to take life. And here, if he throws another 2k counter, that's amazing. He has 1 card in hand. That's amazing. But he decides to go ahead and keep it alive and take the life. So it's almost equivalent to us swinging into life. But look what we hit. We hit this Shira Hoshi. We get gacha pwned, but he has to pitch the Katakuri. So right off the bat, I'm like, he pitches Katakuri, he has a Katakuri, right? And he decides to put the Beige back in life. And here is when I was like, oh, was that the right play? Because I don't know if it would have been better for him to put the 7-cost kid back into my life. I was feeling like maybe that might have been the right move. Because now I'm like, I could just kind of play around this in a sense, right? Because basically, if I hit his Enel, like, I basically can get Enel to die guaranteed, because it's just human nature. He's gonna want to keep his Enel on the board. And so here I'm just like, do I pitch 2 1k counters? And I'm like, I'll go ahead and do it, just because I want to keep the life. Just because I'm also thinking of 10-cost mom, and I don't want to be in lethal threshold. But yeah, I'm just like, okay, we know the Kappongang Beige is there. He already invested his 8-cost Katakuri in that. So I'm like, he's definitely just going to let it die. There's no way he's going to trash that Beige just for fun, right? So we have 5 Dawn left. We're at 2 life, and I'm like, okay, do I want to use my leader ability? How do I want to play this? So again, I made the mistake. I should have played my queen here first, right? Don't make this mistake. I knew I made this mistake as soon as it happened. I get the attack through. That's fine. I already knew that my leader wasn't going to be able to swing because I knew the Kappongang Beige was there. But what I should have done was I should have played the queen, and then I should have done that. Then I would have been able to get 1k more boost. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the attack still went through. But now we're in a situation where we're at 2 life. We have a blocker on board. We only have 1 counter in hand, which is quite unfortunate, but I don't see a world where I can get destroyed. Even if he plays 10-cost mom, he's only going to have an 8k swing and a 5k swing, and we have 1k counter in hand, and we have a blocker on board. So he goes ahead and swings 8k into my 8k kid. Obviously, I'm going to keep this alive. Why would I not keep this alive? This is going to give me an extra 1k, and I go ahead and keep queen alive as well. There's no reason for me to go ahead and use that to block the Katakuri, because I could just use that to block the the leader Katakuri. And here we go. So I draw into another Kaido, but I can't use the Kaido this turn. So what do? Okay, this play actually made sense, okay? I'm telling you, I know, it looked int, but this play actually made sense because I did the math, all right? Just trust me on this. So I went with 7 here. So now he pitches 2 cards out of hand. I'm like, all right, now we just have to do math. Now, here's the thing. It's gachaponed, right? I could get gachaponed. Like, what if that was a Sanji? What if that was a beige? What if that was a brulee? But guess what? It wasn't. And so I was able to take the W. And, you know, it sucks. It's unfortunate because it's just like, man, facing these, like, yellow decks are just so, like, that's why I like to play purple Luffy, because it'll give me the best chance. Because the last thing I want is to play a yellow mirror match, and then it's literally like complete luck, right? Like, it's whoever gets the best gachapon wins, right? So, anyways, we go up against Grape Doffy here. I decided to go second. I don't know. Wait, did I decide to go second? I don't remember what I decided to do this game. I think I did, or did I decide to go first? I don't remember. But anyways, we get out page 1. We play page 1 raw here, and I do want to get Magellan on board. I turbo up my life here. And I'm thinking, do I want to get Queen out? Do I want to get Magellan out? And I'm just thinking, I want to delay Testarosso, or whatever his name is, Grand Testarosso, or whatever that guy from film is. I don't know. Who cares? But the card that lets this deck get draw advantage. I'm thinking about that. But then I was like, look at all the cards in his hand. So I just committed and played the Trafalgar Law to develop a blocker. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just start swinging. I'll start putting on some pressure here. So I go ahead and swing 7. He has the Punk Gibson. I'm like, are you serious? Then I just go ahead and swing 7 again. But of course, he had the Punk Gibson to rest. But yeah, like, as much as I wanted to play the Magellan there, I was like, it was too juicy, right? His hand just had too many cards. And whenever you can get this Trafalgar Law to hit, like, I mean, you guys seen, if you watch my previous videos, sometimes if that Trafalgar Law hits the right card, some people just scoop because they're just like, holy shit. It's like, it's so mentally tilting for some people. So here, I just go ahead and throw the queen. I don't care. I have a 2k counter. Now I know my character's safe. And look at what happens. Because we ramped all those turns, I'm going to self-harm again. Play my Kaido. It's turn 4. I have Kaido on board. I can pop his blocker, Yuta. We go ahead and swing 5. He throws a counter. I'm fine with that. I did this on purpose because I was like, I just want him to throw as many counters as possible. He keeps it alive with a Union Armado. I'm like, okay, I'll just go life here. Have fun going down to 1 life. That's no problem. And then I'll go ahead and keep my Trafalgar Law up as a blocker in hand. We have a 2k counter, a 1k counter. We have a 1k counter event. And we just really hang on to that in the event of, once again, going up against whether it's the Choppers of the world, but more importantly, the Rebecca's or the Borsalinos. But obviously, when we're going up against Grape Doffy, they're not going to be playing that. Instead, he goes ahead and plays Queen. 5-cost Queen on the board here. Going to be playing or using Nami's effect, attaching 1, swing into my page 1. I keep it alive because I'm like, hey, I want the attacker. I want to try to go for lethal. I'll go ahead and block with my Trafalgar Law. That's no problem because now we're at 6 Dawn. 2 Dawn active. He has a ton of cards in his hand. And once again, I'm thinking, do I play the Trafalgar Law? To start, I go ahead and swing 10k because I want to see, does he have the Punk Gibson? Does he have any other shenanigans? And he has the Hell's Judgment and still takes the hit, which means I can't go for the lethal play. So now I'm just thinking about my lines of play. Do I want a Trafalgar Law to rip cards out of hand? Or do I want to play a little bit more aggressive and potentially play the Useless Captain Kidd? Right now, I don't feel like I need to play the Magellan because there's no threat of 10-cost Doffy, right? If I play the Magellan this turn or I don't play it, he's not going to have enough Dawn to play the 10-cost Doflamingo. And even if he did, he would only really be harming just 1 character and fully tapping out, meaning that I have the opportunity to win the game, especially with the Rush Kaido. So again, right now I'm thinking, do I play Trafalgar Law, rip cards out of hand, potentially setting up lethal that way on the following turn, or I can go ahead and use the Useless Captain Kidd, and that's 100% aggressive, and I kept that. And because of how it worked out, I have 1 Dawn left remaining that I can utilize as well on the defensive end and rest anything if he does put out any other pesky chump blockers. Although he doesn't have a chump blocker, he has a 7-cost Luffy. So that's definitely not a chump blocker. And that brings out Nami. Decides to go on the offensive here. And here I'm like, what do? I'll pitch the Law. Here's another 5k. I go ahead and block with my Luffy. And he passes. So now, here is the game plan. I'm like, I can go for game here. I go ahead and take 1 life. So that means that I can play my Kaido. I decide to play my Kaido, send back 5. I can kill the queen here. And so now I'm like, all right, he has all these cards in hand, but look at all the swings I have. And what does that mean? That means we have to do math. But he does have the Monkey D. Luffy. So here I just swing 10k because I'm like, I just want him to get the Luffy off board, right? Just get the Luffy off board. Let's call it a day real quick. Maybe he blocks with Luffy, Paradise Waterfalls, all this crap. But it said 2k, 2k, 2k. We get 3 2k. So I'm just like, hey, let's swing again with the Kaido. So let's see, will he drop 3 2ks here? And it's blocker step. What does he decide to do? And here's one of the things too. Like, obviously I could have like done the math and like swung differently, but I'm like, I think the way that he pitched those counters, I was like, there's no way, right? So then here it's just math. We go ahead and swing. And yeah, actually playing that kid put in work. Obviously I could have played that turn a little bit differently if I played that law. Maybe if I played that law, I ripped 2 2k counters out of hand. You know, I felt pretty confident regardless. And I think I have 1 or 2 more gameplays here for you guys. And yeah, I'm sure this happens to you guys as well. Sometimes like the game just like doesn't allow you to connect to lobby, so I just have to like close the game and reopen it. And here we have a gameplay against another red purple Luffy. So I decided to go first here, and I was really hoping that I would draw into an ulti here. Here's Nami, so I'm like, okay, here's Nami. And again, I've played a ton of red purple Luffy, so I know what this deck wants to do. As you guys know, I uploaded a video on it. So he goes ahead and adds 3-cost Zoro to his hand. This is going to be the Rush Zoro, and has 1 Dawn left. And in my mind, I'm just like, I need to get Magellan. Again, if I can get Magellan, I will win. So he goes ahead and uses his Zoro Jiro. I go ahead and ramp 1. I don't get my my ulti into page 1 combo. So I just have to hard play the page 1. And I obviously can't swing, so I have to pass it back to the Luffy. So here I'm like, all right, I know he's going to be greedy with the Zoro. Like, what I personally would have done this turn, like, okay, so there's 2 lines of play. I was like, this is what's going to determine if I need to be worried or not. Because if he attaches Dawn to the Nami and goes 5 with Nami, and then attaches 1 to Luffy and then goes 7 to life, then I'd be like, okay, that's a threat. But instead he decides to play Zoro Jiro here, and I was like, oh, okay, like that's not bad. So here I'm like, I'll just pitch the 2 cards because I'm like, I'm gonna use my leader ability and ramp and just draw 2 cards this turn anyways. So and I want to keep the ramp going because I want to be able to get my Kaido on board ASAP, you feel me? And I'll be able to do that next turn because now we're at 7 Dawn. And so now I'm like, okay, I'll probably just start putting on the pressure, because one of the things with purple Luffy is you want to drop him to 1 life as fast as possible. The longer he stays at 2 life, the odds are you're probably not going to win, because once he's at 2 life and he can comfortably play Joy Boy, then you're kind of screwed. So here I swing 8k. I was debating on attaching 1 more for the 9k to get the guaranteed hit off. But unfortunately, I was like, you know what? I'll keep the 1k counter just in case, because I'm like, I know he still has the Zoro. I don't know how he's going to play it. I want to be able to rest. I want to be able to keep my life up so I can ramp and all those things. So those are all the things that were going through my head. I probably should have attached the 1 more Dawn. You guys let me know. Was that the right play? You know, again, I did have my rest card, and then I don't even think I used it on this turn. So like part of me now is like, that probably would have been the right play, because I could have potentially gotten 1 more card out of hand. And now I have to pitch a 2k counter for a 5k swing, but it's fine. A counter is a counter is a counter. He goes ahead and gets a little extra ramp with that Zoro Jiro. And it's funny, I don't like Zoro Jiro too much. Like, it's such a strong card, but with all these Sakazukis running around, like, I mean, if you can get its ability to proc 1 time, it did its friggin' job, right? And it just so happens with all the Sakazukis running around, it's hard to do that, because Brand New sets up the trash perfectly for them to go ahead and play Rob Lucci right after you play that Zoro Jiro, and then it's gone. Yeah, I've had that happen to me too many times, so I have a little bit of PTSD. But anyways, Zoro's going to swing into page 1 in here, and here I'm like, you know what? I think I might as well just use this because... oh no, here I made a mistake. I pressed it to use it, and then it used my Dawn because I clicked cancel. But I was like, are you serious? Like, what the heck? Because then I would have just, I would have actually just used it, and then I would have been able to protect myself from this hit. But anyways, it is what it is. That sucks. That happened. But guess what? Now we have 9. So here I'm like, okay, I know I'm playing the Kaido regardless, right? But I'm like, let's let him use counter out of hand. So I go ahead, swing 5. I'm like, does he keep this alive? I wouldn't if I was him. Like, he had the 2k counter. Even if I had the 2k counter in hand, there's no way in hell I would keep that alive. So with that going down, here I'm thinking, okay, I can go ahead and play my 9 cost Kaido. 9 cost Kaido can go ahead and pop the Nami, the one that will be able to attach a Dawn, because I don't want him to be able to have a lot of Dawn value. And then I can go ahead and swing into the Zoro. Zoro definitely dies. And that's exactly what I do. So now I'm thinking, as long as I don't get Joy Boyed, I should win, right? As long as I don't get Joy Boyed. There's a world where he could load up a bunch of Dawn and try to take down my Kaido. But then I'm like, all right, well, I have 4K worth of counter in hand. So I'm like, that's not going to happen. So right now, the only thing I'm thinking about is Joy Boy. And he plays an Edward Newgate. And I'm like, I forgot about that card. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I completely forgot about 9 cost Newgate because I rarely see it because we can only play one. Even when I'm playing it, I rarely see it. So he decides to go 9 to my face here, and I decide to take it. I'm so surprised he decided not to go for page 1. But right when I realized that he didn't decide to go for page 1, I'm like, he has another Edward Newgate. He has to have another Edward Newgate. That's all that could go through my mind, because I'm like, how could he be so confident to not want to control my board? And like he's trying to end the game, right? Like he's trying to turbo end the game right here, right now, by getting that swing into my leader. That's all I could think about. So I'm like, okay, let's swing here. We go 10. So he has 1 life left. So now I'm like, I need to keep my Dawn up, because sure, I could have attached 3 and swung one more time. However, I have 2 1K counter events, right? My rest card. So I wanted to keep that up. And then also it's a bluff as well, because maybe he thinks it's like, not Hound Blaze, Blast Breath. Maybe he thinks it's Hell's Judgment, right? And so he might preemptively try to play around those, when in reality, I'm not playing any of those cards, right? But I'm just using those mind games because I need to keep those Dawns up anyways, and there's no point in me attaching that 1 extra Dawn to anything else at that point in the game. So here I'm like, I need to just stop this attack first. So luckily I have the 2K, the 2K, the 2K, and the 1K, and I rest the Nami. So here I'm like, all right, if he's not playing Rush Sanji here, right? If he had Rush Sanji, potentially if he had not Rush Luffy, because that's 10 costs, but I was like, okay, he has another Newgate. So here I'm like, he's definitely going to hit my page 1. Yeah, because that's the smart play now. So now I'm like, okay, there's not another 10 cost Newgate or 9 cost Newgate. He has 2 Newgates on board. I have to win this turn. So what do? I take the life and I just go ahead and I attach everything and swing, because I have to win this turn, right? If not, I lose. So either he has the counter and, GG's, or he doesn't have the counter and GG's, right? Like, and sometimes it just comes down. Sometimes it just be like that. You feel me? And I felt good about winning this, because when it comes over here, once we get OP05, I won't have to worry about double Edward Newgate, because Edward Newgate is on the restricted list. But that being said, yeah, we won a ton of games today during my practice session today. Obviously, these clips are sped up. I always try to get at least like 40 minutes to like 1 hour of gameplay in every single night as I practice. Yeah, guys, I think Purple Luffy is just going to be the way for me. As I kind of said in day 1, I've been playing other decks because it's very important to play every deck in the format, or know at least how it works. So that way you know what they want to do. So when you're going up against them, you can play around that. And again, I feel very comfortable with Red Purple Law, Red Purple Luffy, Sakazuki. I'm not that strong in playing the deck, but I've played the matchup quite a bit. Now, one of the things that I really want to play a lot more of is more Enel and more Katakuri. So that way, when I'm playing my Luffy, I can feel a lot better when going up against those decks. So what you guys will probably be seeing is me experimenting with Enel. I'll probably be uploading some live commentary for tomorrow's video with my Enel. I'll be building an Enel deck list live in that video as well, talking about my thought process as I build the deck. I'll be going over the Ohm, I fused it together, the Ohm build, the Holy build, mixing those two, not mixing those two decks together, but comparing those 2 different types of decks together, from the Ohm and Holy build to the 7 cost Mom build focus, and playing some matches. And hopefully you guys will be able to learn something. Hopefully I'll be able to learn something as well. But yeah, we're almost here. Purple Luffy is going to be the deck, guys. I think it's just very linear. It will allow me to focus up on the fundamentals and potentially give me the best chance to win. So with all that being said, I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Peace.